I'm going to talk about this study, and this study of stress rehabilitation and burnout rehab. Just an overview of the study, the participants, what we did in Tomatis, how the layout of the work, measurements we used, the results, of course, and then the control group or comparison group, and just a few conclusions after that. Well, really, this work started in 2003, and I brought with me a printout. I attended a presentation from by one of the major, well-known stress rehab clinics in Sweden. And in 2003, I heard them present work. They had done a rehabilitation program for participants. It ran over 6 months. They did pre and post and 6-month follow-up measurements, and they presented the results. And they were, well, from what I've seen of the Tomatis method, I knew we did much, much, much better, but I didn't have any proof. So what I did, what I decided to do there in 2003 was to copy the way they measured. We too do a 6-month program, 3 intensives of 30 hours each. That's what we did. And I copied the exact same questionnaires they used. After 30 hours, after 60 hours, after 90 hours of training, and then a 6-month follow-up. And that's the statistics I'm going to show you. But it all started with this paper in 2003. Yeah, and the beauty of this this study is that it's not a study. It's not a research project. It's real life. It's actually every single person coming through our doors in Sweden with stress symptoms. Every single one. It's not a selection. It's not just someone, you pick the good ones to be able to show something. This is real life. Every single one. Of course, they had to have stress symptoms, so they had to score at least 20 on a scale called Maastricht Vital Exhaustion Scale, or at least 4 on something called Melamed Burnout Scale measurement. 70% were women, 30% men, and they were professionals mainly, with no other problems than just stress, mostly work-related stress. And they had all sorts of diagnoses, and even a few with being kicked in the head by a horse, or whiplash, but mostly depression, burnout, stress, vague diagnoses. They did 2, 3, or 4 intensive blocks of 30 hours each. Some, maybe just a handful did 4 blocks, so 1 and 20 hours. And some did a little less than that. But the average length were pretty close to 90 hours. And 30% of them did also active voice work. The program lasted 6 months, and we did a follow-up. This is an overview of the measurements used. So at the initial assessment, first measurements, after 30 hours, after 60 hours, after 90 hours, and then 6 months. And the first measurement is called Karolinska Sleep Questionnaire. It measures sleep. I'll talk more about that. Second one and the third one. And these are beautifully, they're standardized, they're used a lot in all sorts of research. They're just very, very well-known measurements, which is nice too. Now the first one here, Karolinska, it measures sleep quality, awakening, and tiredness during the day. And it's just simple 11 questions, very quick to fill out. And the scale goes from never, that's the 1, to 6 is always. And it has questions like, do you have difficulties falling asleep, or do you wake up too early? And each question goes into a subscale, and you just calculate the average. So this is what we got. The higher the bar, the worse the problems, right? What's normal is like 2.75 is considered normal. And as you see, they start out pretty high. After 6 months in our program, it just jumps down to normal and it stays normal. This is not placebo. There is no placebo effect that lasts 6 months. Good to know. Okay. That was the first one. Now, if you like statistics, I have more here. I do. I'm going to show you a lot of statistics. Yes. Now, the first thing I want to point out here is that p less than 0.00001. That's the statistical significance. Now, what's normal? Well, what's considered acceptable in research is 5%. That means that it's a 5% probability that it's just a lucky coincidence. This means that there's the one chance in 100,000 that this data is just a lucky coincidence. You'll never see any statistics as good as this. Okay. That's the first one. Here's another way of representing this. It's called a box and whisker plot. And it's a mean value before. It's the... So here's a little bit where we are. I'm just taking one of these subscales, right? So this before and then follow up. The little dot in the middle there, that's the mean. And then we have plus mean minus the box is the standard error. And then the brackets are the standard deviation. Okay. So you get an idea of what it looks like. Next questionnaire, the burnout questionnaire. It measures different factors of burnout syndrome. 22 questions, just one page, very quick to fill out. Scale goes from never to always, and there are 5 subscales. Now, question like, I feel physically drained, or I have difficulty concentrating, my thinking process is slow. 23 questions like that. So our participants answered before and after and follow up. If you're up here like they are, this is the average. Yeah, this is it. So somewhere up here, right? And to be included in the project, they would have at least 4. So these are pretty bad. Then there's the more statistics. I won't bother you with that. It's good still. And that's the box and whisker plot. Even better. Third questionnaire. This is my favorite because it takes like 1 minute to fill out. And it's simple. It's just yes, no, don't know. Do you often feel tired? Yes, no, don't know. Do you feel like you want to give up? Or do little things irritate you more than they used to? And you just sum up. Say yes, that's 2 points. Say no, it's 0 points. Just don't know is 1 point. So in the middle there, 1 point. Just sum it up. And it's this measurement reacts instantly. You have to do it before you start, because often after 2 hours of listening, it actually impacts this form. It's so quick. So that's why it's my favorite. Okay, and this is what it looks like. Values over 20. There's a lot of research on this form. Values over 20 mean that there is a much increased risk of dying prematurely in cardiovascular disease. Dropping down dead. This is dangerous. You have over 20, it's outright dangerous. Yeah, I have one more actually. That. Yeah, the same. Boring. Yeah, boring. This one is nice because, as I said, we measure every 30 hours, right? It's sort of, yeah, you follow up here. 10 is a good value. That's normal. So what we discovered was that by starting this value here, the starting point and this measurement, multiply by 3, And you get the number of Tomatis training hours you need to get down to normal. So you can use it to predict the number of hours. Isn't that neat? Yeah, that was a surprise. Okay. Now this is averages, right? This 100 people, and we take an average, and of course average, you can't trust them, right? The thing is, when you have this data of this great results, if you take one person, you make one line for each person and put them in a graph. Yeah? This is what you get. So start up here, above the line, the red line, and 80% is under afterwards. And you see there are two guys actually. One is going, you can't see it well, but one is going more or less straight across, and one is actually getting worse, of these 100 people. One turned out to be an unknown to us and to the employer, alcoholic, and the other guy turned out he had some sort of infectious disease that was getting worse over time. He improved with the Tomatis, but he relapsed when it stopped. But the ones with stress symptoms, just stressed, normal stress, they all improved, every single one. Yeah, what the insurance company and the employers who sent these people to us, what they wanted to see was, of course, that people were able to go back to work. So when we started, the green proportion here, if this is the 100 participants, these up here, they were working full-time, although they scored so high on these measurements. So they were doing more harm than good in their workplaces. Dangerous to have people like that working. Yellow ones working 75%, 50%, 25%, and these on sick leave 100%. Okay. Before, after, 6 months follow-up. So here we have this report here, and I'm not going to tell you the name of this clinic. But I can say it's a well-known stress rehab clinic in Stockholm. It's a structured intervention program. It's individualized, containing psychologist support. It's containing CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, and massage, and physical activities. Well, yeah, things you would imagine would be beneficial for somebody suffering from severe stress. Okay. The data I have here is for 40 participants. The program took 6 months, same as ours. They used the same forms that we did, and they were referred by the same insurance companies that then later referred people to us. So, Tomatis to the left, the other invention to the right. Yeah, you can't you can't work if you score very high on these forms. They're really, really good measurements. So what we learned, well, these forms are excellent to use to measure how a Tomatis program works. We can measure success with it. The vital exhaustion index is a very good predictor. You can use it to predict the number of Tomatis listening hours we need. Also discovered, as I said, it reacts very fast, like sometimes in just a few hours, but definitely within 20 hours. And what I do when I do the Tomatis program for children, I send the machine home with them, and I always make a program for the parents. I have the parents fill out these forms before, when they come back, and even if they don't see much change on their child, they will notice change on themselves, and I can say, well, look, these types of changes don't show on the outside much. So you won't see them in your child, but you can feel them yourself, can't you? So the other ones, the SMBQ takes a little bit longer, and the sleep, which is more, it takes longer for people to realize. Yeah, but they all show results then after 6 months, right? Tomatis level 1 programs go a long, long way. So every one of you can do this. You can repeat it. Don't do anything fancy with this group. And of course, active voice. Super. I don't have to repeat that. And well, trust the statistics. These data are extremely robust and reliable. Yeah. So that's our 5. We were 5 Tomatis consultants level 4 in Sweden, and 2 of these are here today. Well, including me, plus me. So 2 are here tonight. Helena, will you stand up, Helena? Sorry. Sorry. Yes. Yeah. And Eva is here as well. So please. Okay. So if you have any questions, you can ask them, of course, and me. We're here, and we also had a medical doctor on the team. So we were 5. And I'm available. maria@tomatis.co.nz. Please contact me. I'd love to hear from you, and I'll send this presentation if you want. Thank you. Mm-hmm.